Item 11.8. Mr. Attorney?
11.8 is a resolution, the City Commission of City of North Miami Beach censuring Commissioner Barbara Kramer for unacceptable and inexcusable behavior exhibited towards her colleagues on the City Commission, which seeks to encourage division in the City of North Miami Beach. This item is sponsored by Commissioner Paulie Vallot.
Okay. Public comment is open at this time. Anybody wishing to speak on this item, please step up. Go ahead, Ms. Bartel.
Good evening, everyone. Marlene Martel, 17374 South Glades Drive. I would like to, at this moment, I would like to respectfully request that Commissioner Villar remove this item from the agenda. I have known Commissioner Kramer for probably over 15 years, and she was elected by the people, and this board does not have the legal ability to censor a commissioner without due process. It is my belief this is unethical to censor an elected official by this board and not by the residents that elected that official. Racism, prejudice exist. But I can say without hesitation that Barbara Kramer has worked to unite this community, not to divide it. And she is the one that created the Multicultural Committee to highlight our beautiful, diverse community. And she brought to the city many events of ethnicity and culture that, again, it's to showcase our beautiful community. It would be a true shame to go ahead and take away the voice from someone who has been a positive influence in our community. And I believe that if you do something of that sort, it is truly irresponsible of you. And I do believe it's unethical and unconstitutional. She was voted by the people. I can only say that I am, again, respectfully requesting that you consider what her position has been in this town for so many years and how positive she has been. And I think that this is just truly just a misunderstanding and she shouldn't be censored. One more comment that was mentioned before was about her Facebook page, her Facebook page. Anybody can post on any of our Facebook pages. I actually was tagged on some things that were posted on my Facebook page, and I didn't even know about it because I don't go in there that often to look at things. So please understand that when you're talking about social media, sometimes things get posted to our Facebook page. That doesn't mean we agree with it or we represent it or anything of the sort. But again, it's all these small things that are coming about that reality, they're not the true essence of the person. And I can tell you that that lady has fought really hard for this town for a very long time. So I thank you for your service.
Next speaker. Anybody else? Okay. Oh,
Mr. Mayor?
hold on.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. First, my mazel tov, my congratulations to Andres Bernard for her award tonight. I am coming to speak in support of the resolution.
Your name, sir, for the record?
Yes, I'm Rabbi Robert Kaplan. I live at 1331 Northeast 173rd Street. And I am in support of the resolution R 2022-33, censuring Commissioner Kramer. While it's true that people have social Facebook pages, they are responsible for what goes on. And when I look at the pledge here that is said in the beginning, that is really incumbent upon all the city North Miami Beach residents, employees, and elected officials to exercise civility, I can't understand why, Commissioner Kramer, you have allowed posts, people blogging onto your Facebook page, which you read all the time, that demean people that are sitting right here on the dais with you, demeaning their education, their dialect, their character, pictures of people, that really caricatures of people. It's really unbecoming of a commissioner. And then when a resident, my wife, blogs on something that maybe disagrees with something that's posted there, a bombardment of vulgar speech and condemnation is placed. I wanted to read it tonight, but my wife said, you can't read it. It's every other word is the F word. And I didn't want to demean people here by having to listen to what is on your Facebook page. Now, there is a way to reconcile, and I think we'd all like everyone to come together and to have a working commission. In our religion, Commissioner Kramer, in our Jewish religion, we have an idea of teshuvah, of repentance, of redemption. A person can redeem themselves. And so I think that there are 4 things that you can really do, hopefully soon. One is to go home tonight when you finish here and you delete that garbage, that trash, that terrible stuff that's on your Facebook. You delete it. And second thing is you never let anybody blog on your Facebook again like that, ever. Number 3, you can apologize privately, quietly to the people that you have let that go and demean in that way.
15 seconds.
And to my wife as well, you can apologize. And 4th, you can look inside. Every person, every human being is created in the image of God. B'Tselem Elokim, in the image of God. It's the first chapter in our Bible. If you look and you think
Your time
that
has
you
expired.
have that B'Tselem Elokim and everybody here has that B'Tselem Elokim, you will treat them with dignity and the regard that every human being deserves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I just make a comment? I just want to make a comment that I'm not allowed to delete comments, otherwise I would, but I'm not allowed to delete comments on my Facebook page. So unless ethics or someone tells me I can, unfortunately, they're there. So until I'm out of office, I can't do anything. That's what it is. Sir,
Excuse
please,
me.
don't.
Excuse me, sir. You had your time to talk. He's clarifying something, and we're moving on. Anybody else wishing to speak a public comment? Okay, seeing none, public comment is closed at this time. We'll bring this forth for conversation amongst the commission. Commissioner Villard, this was your item. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, I am bringing this censoring on behalf of most of my residents, and this is not all about me. It's about the way that 4 Black commissioners and Black staff have been treated on this dais. And most of our residents have seen it. You know, they call to show concern. And tonight, I feel like it is the right thing to do in order to censor Commissioner Barbara Kramer. And it goes like this. Whereas the city of North Miami Beach is recognized as a city of diverse and rich cultural heritage, where residents are able to share their diverse experiences to make the city a better place to live. And whereas members of the city commissions have sought harmony among the diverse groups in the city, and whereas Commissioner Kramer has made and continues to make inflammatory, and racially charged comments toward her colleagues on the commission. And whereas Commissioner Kramer has referred to Commissioner Michael Joseph as a third of a man, which echoes, according to Commissioner Joseph, the now removed 3/5 clause of the United States Constitution, where black slaves were counted as 3/5 of a white individual. And that's written. And whereas Commissioner Kramer at public meetings refers to her black colleagues as "you people" several times and constantly yells at the black commissioners like they are children when comments are made with which she disagrees. And Commissioner Kramer constantly used her social media pages to attack her black colleagues by posting racially charged comments from a blogger who once posted an electronic blackface of the current African-American city manager to ridicule the city manager, and Commissioner Kramer reposted comments from the blogger, included calling only black officials criminals. Criminals are people who get arrested. Law enforcement for 27 years and 10 months. Never been arrested. From the blogger, including calling only black officials criminals, corrupt, and dumb with a master's degree. Even though these black officials are not under any criminal investigation or have never been arrested before. Whereas certain members of the city commissions have tried to caution to no avail Commissioner Kramer about her unacceptable and inexcusable behavior, and she refused to apologize for her behavior. And whereas the City Commission finds that approving these resolutions is necessary to put Commissioner Kramer on formal notice that her behavior is unacceptable and will not be tolerated by the City Commission of North Miami Beach. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and City Commissions of the City of North Miami Beach, Florida, that Section 1, the above stated recitals are true and correct and incorporated herein by this reference. Section 2, the City Commission hereby censures Commissioner Barbara Kramer for the unacceptable and inexcusable behavior which seeks to create division in the North Miami Beach community with racially charged comments toward her black colleagues. Section 3, this resolution shall become effective immediately upon approval. Approved and adopted by the City of North Miami Beach City Commission, and this is where I stand, and this is where I am. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment.
And my hand up first.
Commissioner Jean? Commissioner?
You know, this is a difficult moment for all of us as elected officials, especially when you look around this room and you see that there's a diversity of people here serving the city to the best of their abilities. From the moment that I walked, well, even before when I was campaigning, residents would send me screenshots of things that were being said about me online. This was before even walking into this building. So as humans, we are imperfect, and as politicians, we are not shielded from public critique. And our goal is to also promote freedom of speech. I don't want to make this a black and white issue because like I said, this room is full of diversity, but I can only speak for myself as a Black woman in America, as a public official. When you get screenshots of people continuously taunting you, verbally insulting you, emotionally abused, when you come to commission meetings trying to deal with city business, defaming, discrimination, I don't want to say it's about my skin color. I've always supported Commissioner Kramer's events. I've never received that same support. And I'm not making this personal. I want us to all move forward to do something productive for the city, and I believe that's Commissioner Villard's hope as well. And again, we're not perfect, we're human, we're imperfect in everything that we do. And I'm the youngest person on this commission. I've tried to be diligent in all that I do, fiscally responsible, et cetera. And people may leave that up to interpretation. But the narrative that has been stated in reference to a lot of individuals on this commission is wrong. And again, I've stayed silent because I'm a professional, because I'm educated, because I'm a person of faith, and I'm not perfect. But I can only speak from the emotions that I felt sitting here in this seat. And my job as a commissioner is to uphold this oath that we have taken of civility, decency, and respect. And like I said, I can only speak from my experience up here. But I have felt discriminated against. I'm not saying it's because of my skin color. I want to leave that open. From the moment that I came here, I've greeted everyone. I have not received that same respect. And a lot of the times the public does not see what we have experienced behind this microphone. And many of us have remained silent out of respect for this great city. I attended Fulford Elementary, John F. Kennedy Middle, North Miami Beach Senior High, and all the other universities within this area. So I hope that we move forward. And like I said, when you receive text messages from residents that you have that don't even know you and say to you, wow, I can't believe that you guys are experiencing this. From the moment that I walked in this door, my track record has proven for itself that we've been community first and people first. So yeah, we do need to do better collectively. And like I said, I hope this is not about my skin color. When I support my colleagues, everyone on this dais, I have supported to the nth degree. I have not, and it's not about tit for tat and reciprocity as it relates to support. But I can only speak from my personal experience. And so my hope is that from a standpoint of policy and professionalism, yes, that we can agree to disagree, but that we can do it graciously. Why? Because I am a role model, and as we all are role models on here. If sound bites from the last 13 months are replayed here, there will be no argument against the censorship. Now, there is a difference of opinions as it relates to tone, tact, and topic, but replay the sound bites. And then we can always leave it up to interpretation. But what I will say is from my seat and my personal experience, since the minute I walked in this door without even opening my mouth, I was judged, defamed, my character, my professionalism, my family. And I hope as a city, as elected officials, as adults who have children, houses, etc., things that I still aspire to have in my life, that we can do better for a community. When you have young people here observing our commission meetings, when you have people in the community who don't even know me or my history, but have a negative perception based on individuals sharing on social media, without coming here and seeing the hours that each of us spent here developing policies, programs, and experiences for our residents, it's not fair. And that has not spoken for a reason, because I didn't want to make this about race. We want to make this just about the human experience. And like I said, from the moment that I walked in this door, I was not given a fair shot. but that's not the reason I'm here. It doesn't have to be fair, but we have to uphold this pledge of civility that we all read and have agreed to do it. And again, I want to say this. We are imperfect as humans, and as politicians, we are not shielded from public critique, but that does not make it right. And my duty here is not to judge Commissioner Kramer, because we all have sacrificed our family, our time, our professions to be here and to serve. But the narrative that's being painted is not correct, and it's not about a difference of opinions. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Flerman.
Thank you so much. It's quite interesting that last meeting there was a censure item to censure myself and Commissioner Villard that Commissioner Kramer brought up because I personally stepped out to go see how my colleague was doing after he had an emergency, and Commissioner Villard logged off and was not part of the meeting. Commissioner Kramer then filed an ethics complaint about that. It didn't go anywhere, but was so convicted about the issue that she came back to a meeting to try to censure us during that meeting. That was her conviction. I have to respect her conviction. We may not always agree on this commission, but one thing we have to respect is the person's right to their vote and the person's right to their opinion and to exercise their opinion with their vote. I haven't spoken to Commissioner Kramer in almost a year, and that's something I rarely do, but happened right after I voted for the city attorney and for the city manager. Commissioner Kramer didn't agree, and pretty much our friendship kind of went out the door at that point. Something that I've thought about over and over and over again, spoke to different people over and over about it, because I remember when I met Commissioner Kramer at a coffee shop when I initially wanted to become a commissioner, and she appointed me 10 years ago. I remember knocking on doors, walking door to door with her to get votes. I remember when I was asked to run against her, I said I wouldn't run against her because she's a public servant that I think is doing a good job in the city of North Miami Beach. I remember meeting in her household with several elected officials up here so that we can work together to win the 2018 election. I remember sitting with her husband at a precinct, cracking jokes, enjoying a good time while we were all trying to campaign to win a seat on this dais. So very conflicting for me to have to sit at odds with one of my colleagues for over a year. Even more conflicting now for this to come to a head with this particular item. But for me, what gives me the ability to be able to sit here and say that this is something that we need to discuss and we need to hash out is the fact that people up here with convictions fight for those convictions. And I would not be fulfilling my mandate if I stood quiet with what's been going on as it relates to this commission. We all have a responsibility for what we say and what we do. Commissioner Kramer came up with our ethics, one of our ethics ordinances that she worked very hard on. We talk about civility and all of these things. But sometimes in disagreement, we become the very people that we fight against. And that's the manifestation of what I'm seeing. On her social media page, has shared. It's not only people making comments, it's purposely sharing on social media, tagging dozens of people so that they can read certain articles and certain things that are defaming her colleagues. It's when we all took the time to go to Miami Beach so that we can stand together with the Jewish community against hate. That Commissioner Kramer, when I was heading back, because I had 3 places to go, I said I would take my own car, I wouldn't go on this trolley, because I have 3 other stops to make, but I couldn't miss it, because I knew how important it was, not only to you, but to this entire community. And even though we were not in agreement on this dais about all of our policies, but I knew that we can stand together against hate when it comes to our Jewish community. And only to look at Facebook on my way back to see that there were 3 black commissioners there, and you said 2.5. 2.5. I got calls apologizing, and I said, do you understand that kind of a comment, how it hurts? 2.5. 3 black commissioners, and you said 2.5 showed up. You mentioned that we left early. You mentioned that we didn't stay. You mentioned that if people came to take pictures and leave and they thought that's what support is, that's what you decided to hearken on. Not the fact that myself and Commissioner Jean had several other locations to be at and went through traffic to and from to make sure that we were there to support. You chose to highlight that part and say 2.5. Who is less than a human on this dais? Who is less than one person on this dais? And to the degree that you understood, maybe when you were called out by several other people, you went back and you changed it to 3. You know, honestly, the essence of someone is what former Councilwoman Commissioner Martell talked about, the essence. And sitting next to Commissioner Kramer, I don't doubt that she's a fighter for this city. I don't doubt that she feels a fiduciary responsibility towards this city. I don't doubt her vigor. I don't doubt her enthusiasm. We may disagree on this dais, but I believe that she loves the city of North Miami Beach. However, we have to be responsible for the things we do. We have to be responsible for the things we say, and the same conviction that she has that allowed her to bring a censure up a month ago for someone having to walk off the dais or someone going to check up on their friend is the same conviction that is with this censure. It's not okay. The mayor just now called our city attorney big boy, a term, maybe I don't know where he was going with it. He probably didn't mean it in a particular racial way. But we are elected officials. We know that there's a higher standard that we're to be held to. When you refer to a black man as a big boy, with all of the racial undertones of that kind of a statement, you say it boldly, Mr. Mayor, that is unacceptable. When we're in an executive session talking about our employees, and you say, dealing with our finances, that we have just taken the noose from around of our neck. When you say you're tired of being redlined, Mr. Mayor, I called you out in that meeting because those are terms that are hurtful. And if you don't know, it's your responsibility to do the research and to educate yourself so that you won't offend people. Because at the end of the day, I take it upon myself to make sure that I'm cognizant of your culture. I'm cognizant of your ethnic background. I'm cognizant of your religion. So the essence of the person is not something that I can judge, because honestly, I've had experiences with Commissioner Kramer, and I believe that perhaps she's not a racist, but has said and made racially inflammatory comments that promote discrimination, promote racism, and promote ethnic divisiveness. And that's not okay. We have to be responsible. And because of that reason, Commissioner Kramer, I'm in support of this censure. I'm in support of this censure. And I would hope that we can move forward towards having that conversation that we need to have as a commission, so that we can bring this to a place where we can actually get the work of the city done. In all honesty, I'm tired of coming up here and dealing with this all the time. Tired of coming up here and you go one way, I go another. I don't say hi to you, you don't say hi to me, this and that. I mean, I have more conversations with the mayor than I do you, and that people would probably think that's absurd, you know? But this is just ridiculous. This is not the way we want to do business in our city, and we are all responsible for moving the needle forward. So perhaps I may not think the gentleman walking next to me is a criminal, But in my subconscious mind, if I clutch my purse, I have to ask myself a question about where I'm located subconsciously. If I walk the other direction or if I cross the street, I have to ask myself, where am I located? If an officer is more prone to giving tickets to young black men, young Hispanic men, we have to ask ourselves, where are we located as a police department? We need to do that introspective look so that if by accident even, we're being discriminatory, we're being prejudiced, we're racially profiling, that we can fix it, even if it's not the essence of who we are. It's about the people on the other side of our disposition. And for that reason, I support this. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else wishing to speak that hasn't spoken? Vice Mayor?
Last month, when the subject of censuring Commissioner Flormont and Villard was put on the agenda, I stated that I was not in favor of censuring, and that although I did in the past vote for censuring someone on the dais, I will not that night and in the future. For the record, my opinion still stands the same tonight. My vote will once again be a no, and in the future as well. For those of you who think I may be keeping silent because I'm afraid to speak up, this is the furthest thing from the truth. My parents, may they both rest in peace, were jailed in Cuba for speaking up against communism. My father 3 times and my mother twice. They taught me that what they did was a good thing, and I am proud of them and have no issue speaking up when needed as they taught me to. What I am doing here is simply just not getting involved in the disputes going on this dais. Somehow we must all learn to get along, including even sometimes myself. I will be celebrating 40 years of marriage this summer. Marriage is about taking, giving, and forgiving. In my case, God willing, my marriage will end until death do us part many, many years from now. On this dais, we meet on the average of once a month for 4 years, and 4 more years if we get reelected. That's about 100 times, and 100 times of what seems like the whole world is watching and or knows about the fighting and the words on this dais. Let's learn to get along, or at least be sensitive to the feelings of each other. I know that I have made the efforts. I also know we all make mistakes. I made one myself today. I said something that came out wrong, sounded wrong, but the other person did the right thing and said something to me. I then corrected myself, explained myself, apologized profusely, and I believe after that we're buddies again. I hope. We were voted to serve in North Miami Beach. Criticizing each other is not what our residents, employees, and businesses want to hear. Let's bite our tongues sometimes, no matter what we can and could speak up and out, because we are in a free country with freedom of speech. It is simply called respect. I have shown support to all my commissioners. At least I think I have, attended most of their events and will continue to do so. I can look at myself in the mirror and I can sleep well at night. I know that I'm making a difference, sometimes quietly and on my own. Now, quite honestly, when the whole thing came out about Commissioner Kramer saying half of a man, a third of a man, I myself did not know what others believed that she was implying. I learned it after it was brought up to me. And I can't speak on behalf of Commissioner Kramer, but maybe that was not her intention to insult anyone. I don't know. I haven't asked her, and maybe she wants to talk about that later when it's her turn. But what I will say about Facebook is that if someone wrote something about someone on Facebook, derogatory, ugly, I would ask them to remove it. What I saw was written about the Kaplans was disgusting. Leslie Kaplan did not deserve that. And I would ask that other person to remove it. I would beg that other person to remove it. And I've done something like that in the past. And if they don't remove it, you know what? I may, just maybe, I haven't been in that position, but I maybe just might remove it and suffer the consequence of being reported to ethics. But I might also remove the person who makes those comments. Barbara, I think I know you better than anyone on the dais. We're really good friends. And I know that you have a passion for everything. And I also know that you did many great things as a commissioner. I don't know what's happening that you changed. I mean, I think I know what's happening, why you've changed. But you know, you've changed to so many other different people. I mean, we barely spoke for 9 months, and now we haven't even spoken in a month. And you know, it's all because, well, not all because, some of the reasons because I am choosing, because I want to, because I care, I'm choosing to do things a certain way on the dais and speak to certain commissioners, speak to all the commissioners, and attend the events of the commissioners and vote certain ways. But that's because, not because I'm voting their way, it's because they happen to be voting my way. And that's the way it is. I'm not voting their way, they're voting my way. You can see it, anyone can see it as that, but I see it as Fortuna is voting as Fortuna chooses. That's all I have to say for now.
Anybody else wishing to speak on this item?
I want to say something.
Commissioner John, your second bite, go ahead.
Commissioner Smuckler, you know, I've supported you in different things, and like you said, it's not about necessarily, we're colleagues, so that's what we're supposed to do. But even when you mentioned they in your comment, you know, I can't explain how it makes me feel when you say they, because we're us, it's all of us. So we're not separating one person from another. So when you say from they, how they vote or how their events, and are we listening to that narrative? Because I like to use logic. So when you say they, and this is not to attack you, but when you say they, it's us. No, I want to make sure that you understand how I'm feeling from what you're saying as well, because when you say, and you're basically saying because you're voting with them.
Well, no, it's
I don't know. Maybe I'm not understanding clearly.
You're misunderstanding.
Okay.
I did say, I guess I did say, if you said I said it, I said it. But it's just because it's for people that I'm just saying listen,
I don't want to prove Commissioner Villard's point. That's what I'm saying.
No,
when you
I'm
say
not.
they, the four,
No,
it's hard, Commissioner.
But it's look.
It's obvious. Is that what you're saying?
Look. There's 7 people on the dais. Okay, I'm one of them. All right. Then you know what? I'm just going to be honest. I'm one of them. Then there's Tony and there's Barbara, who are always voting one way. They are always voting one way. Then there's Commissioner Joseph, Commissioner Villard, Commissioner Jean, and Commissioner Flormont that have been also known to vote another way.
All the time? Is that what you're saying?
Not all, also known. Okay. Sometimes vote. You know what?
Commissioner, Vice Mayor, if I may, because I don't want us to lose focus on the conversation at hand. May I?
If I'm going to be accused of something,
I'm not accusing you of anything.
No, I know, but I don't want it to be out there.
I think I understand.
Hold on.
When I'm saying Tony and Barbara, they're white. I'm not, I'm not like they're they also, and it's just like you can't take my words out of proportion. I said Tony and Barbara are voting one way. I'm not accusing them of being, whites voting one way, and I'm not accusing you, I can't even talk anymore. I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything. I'm just saying that when I vote with Commissioner Jean, Commissioner Flormont, Commissioner Joseph, and Commissioner Villard, some people are accusing me of voting one way, okay? When I vote with Commissioner Mayor DeFilippo and Commissioner Kramer, some people accuse me of voting another way. All I'm saying is that I'm voting my way, okay? Sometimes it happens to be one way, sometimes it happens to be the other way, but it's my way. That's what I was trying to just say, that I am voting one way, and that's it.
Mr. Mayor?
Okay? And if it came out the wrong way, I apologize.
I'm not saying it came out wrong or right.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to add some clarity to something.
Are you finished, Vice Mayor? Okay.
I'll take my second bike and I'll be done.
Okay, Commissioner Flormont, your second bike.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to mention, because I didn't want us to lose this point, when Commissioner Jean is talking about they, the reason it may come across offensive to her, my assumption, based on my experience here, is that several years ago, there were 4 elected officials here: Tony DeFilippo, Barbara Kramer, Marlene Martel, and George Vallejo, that would vote a lot of times the same way. During that time, they were called the Fabulous Four, or perhaps I think the Awesome Foursome. That was the terminology used. Fast forward 5-6 years later, and there is 4 Black Haitian elected officials, Haitian American elected officials on this dais, that a considerable amount of times on issues may side with each other on those issues. Not every issue, but a lot, because of ideology, whatever it may be. And they've been coined, the term that they've been using is the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So when you think about that narrative, you begin to understand what the issue is here. Is that the narrative, we as elected officials up here have a responsibility not to promote that divisive narrative, something I'll never do on my Facebook page. Because at the end of the day, that's my responsibility. Only positive messages about North Miami Beach. Only great things happening in the city of North Miami Beach. Not accusing my colleagues, not sharing negative posts about them, because at the end of the day, it's my responsibility and we have to be above board. Not only that, but we have a higher calling and a higher standard. So I just wanted to make sure with my bite that I address that issue, because the narrative has got to change, and it's up to us to do it. Thank you.
Commissioner Kramer, you had your hand up before, and I don't know if anybody else.
Thank you.
Second bite up.
So I'm going to go off the speech. I didn't even really prepare a speech, but I do have some statements that I will make. But first of all, I'm not a racist. And it hurts me to the core. I mean, look, I know who I am, no doubt about it. And pardon the pun, but I'm a very black and white person. There is very little gray in my world, in everything that I do. And I have very deep convictions. I believe people should do things a certain way. When it comes to leadership, forget my divisive, I can't even say the word, the way I speak and I come off flippant because I get so aggravated as so much that I see up here that I'm not going to reiterate it up here. I'd be happy to if we had a session, and I can tell you all the things that bother me that have zero, and when I say zero, I mean so far zero, so whatever that decimal is, that there's nothing that can come below it of racism in my body. And it hurts that, unfortunately, many of you take it that way. That when I say, and because I know this, when I say you four, it is not by any stretch of the imagination meant as you four being black or Haitian. And unfortunately, if one of my other colleagues that are not Haitian and black were in that same mix that always voted the same way, or whatever the case was during that time where I said it, and I think it had to do with maybe the gift cards or whatever it was, if I would have said you five, nobody would have batted an eyelash. But four of you happen to be black, but that doesn't mean I'm saying you four. It's just like when they called us the Fabulous Four because we were always voting the same way. Do you think any of us thought we were being called that because we were white? And there's no question that I'm sure white people, we can't possibly think how a black person feels and thinks because of all the years of just all the things that you have to put up with racism. But you can't assume by people's words at all times that it means that. And that's something that only a professional can, and to have a really good conversation would do for all of us. And what you don't know about me, unfortunately, is there, and I believe one of the commissioners up here, multicultural, just to bring this up, when Trayvon Martin was murdered, and Paulette Murphy was there, and multitude. I had Janie Greenleaf, and we were white and Hispanic and black and Haitian. Well, I don't even know if we had a Haitian on my multicultural at the time, but a person. But I wanted to talk about it, not because I wanted to sit there and decide who was right and who was wrong, or if there was a right and someone was murdered, and we needed to talk about this. The purpose was to feel comfortable asking the questions with not being scared to ask them. I can tell you so many stories that none of you know about me because you're taking the way that I act and the way that I talk because of my passion. I come out obviously snobby and snooty, and you're turning that into racist connotations that are not there. And now I understand, and I don't know where this 1/3 of a man is coming from, but if anything about the 2.5 people, I made that comment because of the 3, 1 was there so quickly and left that I made that comment because I guess I was offended. So I apologize for that, but it did not mean that you were half of a person, whoever I was referring to. I don't even remember which of the three people that left early, which it was. But I didn't mean that. And I'm shocked that you took it that way. But I guess in retrospect, thinking of how you would take it, having to put up with so much for so many years and hundreds of years, and it's brought down from your family members, I absolutely didn't make it. And I'm quite shocked that I'm hearing it tonight, and that I'm so happy that I can at least explain what I was actually saying. You know, you can say a lot about me, Commissioner Villard. You can say a lot of bad stuff about me, and I can own up. I can own it. I know who I am. I'm a tough cookie. But I am not a racist. And if that part was taken out of this censure, that would be amazing. But I can't possibly, you know, I have convictions. And I'm sorry, Commissioner Villard, if you don't like the fact that I voted for Commissioner Jean to be the vice mayor when I voted up here, or I voted for Commissioner Smuckler to be the vice mayor, but you were going and being an imposter in a sense about being the vice mayor and giving a proclamation and not even saying, you know, I shouldn't have done that, I wasn't thinking, I was just all excited, it was Christmas, whatever. But you didn't even own that. At least I own who I am other than being a racist. And the same with my ordinance that I worked so hard on, because Commissioner Smith, who, by the way, was an older white woman, and I fought with her more than any commissioner you can imagine. Do you think she thought it was because she was older than me, or a different shape than me, or white like me? No, it was because I had issues with the way she governed and spoke and said things that came out of her mouth that, I'm sorry, had no facts to back them up. So when she walked off the dais one time and we were stuck without a quorum, and the mayor, a commissioner at the time, had to literally come from his sickbed, he had just had surgery, so that we could finish the people's business because we had some very, very time-sensitive legislation going on, I created that ordinance. Unfortunately, the attorney at the time and the Ethics Commission put it in the procedures and protocols and did not put it into the ethics code, to where there would be a problem if you just walked off a dais and just stopped the people's business. And Commissioner Joseph, you ask, has this ever been done before? Maybe we're the first city to do it, because maybe it happened now twice in our city. Maybe it's never happened in another city. Maybe it will happen, and then they'll come up with an ordinance. But just because no other city does it, but we've experienced not once, but even again. And had you not even known about the ordinance and you stayed quiet, Commissioner Florimon, you could have at the very least said, I wasn't thinking, my friend's cousin passed away, I got up, I left, I didn't think that we were, you know, not going to have a quorum. All you had to do was say, I'm sorry, you did wrong, just like I'm saying tonight. I own that I have a personality that's extremely difficult. I own that. I do not own that I'm a racist, one bit. But There was, you know, and you twisted my words around that night, Commissioner Joseph, because I said that if this happened to the mayor or to Fortuna and their relative died, I would have also got up from the dais probably, and I would have said, everyone hold on, or if I didn't break quorum, I might not have said anything, and I would have went to one of them to console them, to let them know that I'm thinking about them, but I would have come back to the dais, and that's all I expected. Of course, I would expect you to go off the dais and be with your friend. Of course I would. But I expected you to come back. And I'm sure Commissioner Joseph would have appreciated and understood that you need to come back, you need to do the people's business, and I'll see you later after the meeting. So everyone is just taking so much out of context, and it happens. It happens. We blow everything out of proportion. I know how I feel about certain votes that you take. Do I think you're making those votes because you're different than me? No. It's because the way you think policy-wise, fiscally, you know, with our money, you know, I could go on and on and on. But it has nothing to do with who you are as a person. I'm talking to you as a legislator. And my passion for that has now been twisted into something that I'm not. So I could go on and on and on and on, and I'm completely off the script. But I'm going to read for the record that I didn't want to lower the quality of this debate at this People's Forum by dignifying this with a lengthy commentary that this type of slander is beneath the dignity of our great city. It's slander. It's not, you know, I can't, you're a snob, you're rude, you talk to us nasty. I will own that, guys and women. I own that. But I'm not a racist. I have to be clear about that. I want to be clear that I also put the commissioner and the city, meaning Commissioner Villard, on notice that this resolution makes factual assertions about me that are not true, as I've already described. I have asked the commissioner and the city, by a letter, to withdraw this item because I am not a racist, and I have never said anything that could be interpreted that way. This resolution, it's slanderous and it's false, and it will subject myself and my family to emotional duress and economic harm. This type of defamation has no place at a forum where we should be addressing the people's business, except that, again, you want to censor me for so many other things I could agree with you on, that's fine, but not that I'm a racist. And if this continues with this item being exactly as it stands, and it is voted on, I'm not going to have a choice, but I'm going to have to hold anyone accountable for slandering my good name that has served this community for decades. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner.
Mr. Mayor,
Madam Clerk.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Joseph's been trying to,
Yeah, I saw his hand go up. She had her hand first.
okay.
Commissioner Joseph, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to keep my statement short. I've been slandered up here. I've been called the devil by you, Commissioner Kramer.
But it's not racist.
You talk about slander. You called me a criminal. You called me the devil. I'm a son of a preacher.
I called you a criminal?
No, let me speak. Let me speak. I'm a son of a preacher. I was taught if you have nothing good to say about someone, don't say anything at all. Raised that way. You have shown me disrespect time and time again on this, and you've admitted to that, to your snobbery or whatever, but I amount that to privilege. You feel you're privileged to demean us. College educated, lawyer, practicing for 10 years, yet you know better than me. You exude this privilege like you're better than everyone else. I can understand a policy debate. I can understand a robust discussion about how we can handle our city, how we move our city forward. But what I can't stand is you demeaning me and in turn demeaning my family for over 3 years. And I wish we could pull tapes of when you said you hate me. You hate. Think about that word. You said hate. I'm less of a person in your eyes, and that's your decision, but that leads to that aspect of racist. I don't hate anybody. I don't. I know where I come from. I'm proud of who I am. My parents came from nothing. And I stood here while you called me out. Made me feel less of a person, and I had to be quiet because a lot of them up here said, Mike, hold back your heart. Mike, hold back from saying we do not want to show that side. I'm like, and I kept my mouth shut. I didn't bring this forward. But when I go home, my family at night, that you don't think they see it in my face? That even that a person I consider a friend can console me when someone dies in my family, you question that.
I didn't question it.
You did. You did.
I did not question it.
Man,
Ever.
you did. You did. But you know what? It is what it is. Like I said, I was raised better. When I see my maker, and I will, I can say that I was honorable. I was honorable. And like I said, that privilege of yours, Commissioner Kramer, I'm telling you, if everyone is telling you that this is how they are feeling as a result of it, it is true. Thank you.
Kramer, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to reply to two things that he said. First of all, many of you may or may not know that I had a situation that happened to me. And Commissioner Joseph, you may try to separate yourself from this, but there were emails from someone, and Mayor DiFilippo showed me the emails from your best friend, from the best man at your wedding, and the godfather of your child was behind these horrible emails about me and where I lived when I sold my house. And not for reasons that I wanted to sell it. So please, you don't speak while I'm speaking either, because you tell me not to speak, let me speak.
I didn't say anything.
And when you speak about being honorable, and one night we were at a commission meeting and we all got a piece of paper from former Mayor Beth Spiegel, who didn't know an entire story, wrote a letter, and it was all about our previous city attorney. And we asked our clerk, I asked, where did this come from? Everyone, how did this get on our desk? And everybody up here said, I don't know. But guess what? We caught you. Let's talk about honorable. Let's air our dirty laundry right now. We caught you on camera sneaking out of the elevator and into the commission chambers, and you put that information there to spread propaganda and to give a bad name to the attorney. So this is just a really bad situation here because there's a lot of bad blood. And Again, you twisted my words around because I never said that Commissioner Florimon should not have gone to be with you. What I said was the quorum was gone, and had he checked in or had the city attorney that I asked to call him, and he said to me, I'm not calling my bosses. And nobody listened to me when I kept saying, we have an ordinance, everyone. We need a quorum. Please call Commissioner Florimon. I never, ever said that he shouldn't have done what he did, ever. But he had the responsibility after being with you, talking to you, consoling you, to come back. Because that's our job here, that's our responsibility. So I see by my colleagues' eyes, and they're rolling, and none of you are going to believe me, because apparently there's nothing I can say or do. I'm to defend myself, to tell you so much. It's just, you know, this wouldn't be the time to do it. There is a time that we can, but I don't think it's now. It could take hours for me to go through my track record, and I really don't want to defend myself to that extent.
I don't think you should have to, Commissioner Kramer. I think plenty of people here have stated that the essence of who you are is not what we're discussing here. We're discussing exactly what you feel are your convictions, maybe other people's convictions, about their reception of things that you have done or said. Now, having said that, if people feel like Commissioner Joseph has said,
Commissioner.
oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, may I? Because she's attentively listening. May I continue and finish?
She's attentively listening. Is that if you take a third bite at the apple, everybody's going to want.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't want that.
I'm trying to.
We don't want that.
The meeting in order. We got your point. You're trying to.
Thank you.
It, and I'm just going to, if you're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. I just want to call the vote.
Okay.
Second.
I want to make a motion to call the vote.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. It's a voice vote. So.
Mayor, maybe you want to have a roll call, just to have no confusion.
No, it's a voice vote. It's a voice vote. All in favor for moving forward with the censure of Commissioner Kramer, say aye. And
Aye.
Aye.
Say nay.
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 That's a 4-3?
Yes.
Okay. Passes.
Okay.